Hi guys, I am in a different location today. Today I'm up in my room because my brother's in the living room and I didn't want to disturb him, and so I thought that I would film a video up here instead. My room is an absolute tip, hence the reason that you're seeing a very narrow section of it, so it really does need to get tidied, but it's something that I have been avoiding for a very long time, so I'm going to have to do it at some point. But anyway, on to the content of this actual video. Today I'm going to film a tag video, and this is the music tag. I don't know if it has any more of a specific name than that, or if it just is called the music tag. The one that I have got the questions from just says the music tag. So the first question is, favourite band or musician of the moment? Now, I don't have one single answer to this. I'm going to find it really hard to find one single answer to all of these questions, so I'm probably going to have more than one. I had to pick five. I'm going to pick five because I feel like that's the kind of easiest way to break it down. I would say it would be Codaline, Imagine Dragons, Bo Bruce, I had more Bastille, and who was my other one? Ellie Goulding. They would be my kind of top five of the moment, people who I'm listening to most consistently. I'm also listening to One Republic's new album a lot at the moment because I just got it and it's amazing. I say new album, it came out in about March or April, but I just got it recently. So yeah, those would be my kind of top little selection. They all kind of have songs that remind me of other bands from the past that I've really loved. I've talked about this before, I feel like it was maybe in a blog post, but I love that there are songs on all of those albums that remind me of people like Snow Patrol and The Killers and The Naked and Famous, people who I really love. And so yeah, those would be my favourites of the moment. Next question, who is one band that you always come back to? I suppose that's band or artist, I would imagine. But I would say for that question, I always come back to Daughtry. I fell in love, quite literally, with Chris Daughtry when he was on season, whatever season it was, 6 maybe, or whatever, of American Idol. I was absolutely besotted with him and I was devastated. I was embarrassingly devastated when he got not kicked off, but like when he got voted off fourth. I was just horrified, but I absolutely loved him, and so I have all of Daughtry's albums. I love them all, and they are the kind of CDs that they're all on my iPod, and so I go through phases where maybe I haven't listened to them in ages and then I think, oh, I really want to listen to the first Daughtry album or whichever. Their first album is probably still my favourite, although I really do love their most recent album, it's amazing. And so yeah, he's definitely someone who I always come back to. Next is, what's your favourite movie soundtrack? This one's quite easy for me. My favourite movie soundtrack is from Elizabethtown. Elizabethtown is not probably the best film that's ever been made in the history of time. It's a Cameron Crowe one with Orlando Bloom and Kirsten Dunst. I actually really like the film. It's very cheesy and romantic, so of course I like it. But the soundtrack is what really makes this film special. It is so good. It's a sort of alternative country kind of soundtrack, and I'm a huge fan of country music. I love country music. People like Carrie Underwood and Miranda Lambert are right up my street. And so the Elizabethtown soundtrack is a kind of rock country alternative kind of vibe, and it's so good. I remember going to see the film in the cinema and just the soundtrack just stood out an absolute amazing. People like Patty Griffin, Tom Petty, who else is on there? Lindsey Buckingham, who else? I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment, but it's a really good soundtrack, so I would definitely recommend having a listen to that if you haven't heard it already. Next is, what is/are some of your favourite songs of all time? This one I found really hard because I don't have one singular favourite song of all time, but I do have certain songs that I really love and that are really sort of meaningful to me. Most of them are probably slightly predictable, but I kind of love them because I see them in my head as like classic movie airport chase scene songs, if that makes sense. So the kind of song that you know at the end of the film when the guy's running to stop the girl at the airport, they're going to play this song over it. So things like Coldplay Fix You is one of my all-time favourite songs. I absolutely love it. Dare You to Move by Switchfoot, Anywhere But Here by Safety Suit, Far Away by Nickelback. All these ones are very much like airport chase rom-com songs, so I love all of them. I've got other ones that are more maybe like sort of chill out philosophical kind of songs that I really like. such as Holocene by Bon Iver, I love it. Human of the Year by Regina Spektor. And then I've got more kind of like upbeat dancey ones that I always love. I love Fashion of His Love by Lady Gaga. It is one of the best kind of most dancey pop songs ever. I just adore it. It's so good. And then kind of older sort of things. There's certain really old Blondie songs or albums that I listened to a lot when I was really small, and I just loved them. And so I realise I'm failing really miserably with this tag because I'm just rabbiting on about loads of different things. But yeah, what was the actual question there? What is / are your favourite songs of all time? Okay, well, if I had to pick absolutely one at the moment, and if I wasn't allowed to listen to anything else, I would probably say Fixture by Coldplay because I love it so much. But I don't really like having to just pick one. The next question is, what are the top 3 most played songs on your iTunes? And I didn't know this and I went to check, and actually what's kind of annoying is that recently my iTunes, or not all that recently, but maybe a year ago, my iTunes got all reset and we got a new computer and whatever, and so it kind of went back to scratch and I had to re-upload my playlists and everything, and so I kind of lost my total from the number of years that I've had my iPod or iTunes account. But the 3 that are the most played at the moment, I went and checked before I started to film this. So one of them is Before We Come Undone by Chris Allen, who is another American Idol alumni. He won a few years ago and I love him to pieces. He's got the loveliest voice, and he his first album, Before We Come Undone, is just a track off the album and I've just always really loved it, and obviously I've listened to it quite a lot. Another one that is up there is Fashion of His Love by Lady Gaga, which is the one that I had mentioned before, which I absolutely love. It's the danciest, most fun. If you're in a kind of rubbish mood, if you're having a bad day, I would recommend listening to Fashion of His Love because it just it just cheers you up instantly. It's so good. Whatever your opinion on Lady Gaga is, because I know a lot of people have very varying opinions on her, it is a great song, so definitely one to listen to. And the other most played one of late, or of the moment, is Bubblegum Bitch by Marina and the Diamonds, and Marina is one of my favourite people. Next question is, what is your favourite concert that you have attended? And for this is quite an easy one for me. It was the Bo Bruce gig that I went to in Glasgow in June, and I absolutely loved that, and I am not going to sit and talk about this at any great length because I have an entire video dedicated to this, so I'm going to link it here. So this is the CD and I've got the ticket from the gig that she signed still inside the CD cover. If you want to hear me ranting about how good that gig was, you can click here and go watch that video. Next question is, who is the most underrated musician / band in your opinion? I would maybe say I've already spoken about her a minute ago, but Marina and the Diamonds, I absolutely adore her, and I know that she has a very sort of cult following and her fan base is very much kind of sort of based around people who really adore her rather than people who go, oh, her music's alright. It's people who like Marina love Marina, and so I would probably say her because she kind of came on the scene around about the same time. There was a sort of like this sort of surge of young British artists, female artists that all came out round about the same time. Ellie Goulding, Florence and the Machine and Marina from Marina and the Diamonds all kind of appeared round about the same time, and I feel like Ellie and Florence have kind of broken out of that kind of like little sort of cult following box, and they've got kind of like huge international followings. You've got Florence and the Machine doing soundtracks for The Great Gatsby and just being this sort of powerhouse person. Ellie is taking over America, and I absolutely adore both of them. I love all 3 of those girls, and I loved them all from the minute that they appeared on the scene. Especially Ellie Goulding, I had been kind of following her from before she won BBC sort of Sound of 2010 or whatever year it was. I absolutely loved her, and so I'd been following her already, but when Marina and the Diamonds appeared, I completely fell in love with her, and I feel like people maybe just don't take her seriously enough. She is a bit crazy, she wears some very interesting clothes and makeup, but her songs and her lyrics are amazing. Each of her albums, she has 2 albums at the moment. If you haven't listened to them, go and listen to them because they are so good. Each album has kind of a story behind it, and a character that she's kind of created, that each of the songs sort of link into this character's life, and it's just just amazing. So yeah, definitely would say Marina is probably one of the more underrated artists who I particularly love. The last question is, what is your favourite quote / song lyric? And again, for that, I don't know that I necessarily have just one. However, I could quite easily tell you, if someone wanted to make me a book of someone's song lyrics, if someone wanted to, I'm not asking anyone to, but if someone wanted to go and compile a sort of book of someone's song lyrics and make it look all beautiful and just have it for me to just sit and read, it would be Regina Spektor. I adore Regina Spektor. I think she is incredible. She's such a talented musician, such a talented songwriter, but her lyrics are amazing. They are so philosophical, they're thought-provoking, you're listening to them. Some of them are daft and silly and sound kind of nonsensical. Her 5th album, Far, is probably one of my favourite albums that anyone has ever written ever. It is an amazing, amazing record, and it has a sort of religious-y, philosophical undertone to it running sort of through all of the songs, and it is just beautiful. The songs are amazing. There is not a song on the album that I don't love. So that's it for my music tag. I really hope that you enjoyed that, and as usual I have gone off on many a tangent, which I shouldn't have done, but regardless of that, I hope that you have enjoyed that. I don't really particularly like this setup, and I will be very glad to get back to my living room for the next video, but I wanted to get this filmed today because I'm not going to have time throughout the week. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope that you are all well. Let me know in the comments below what some of your favourite songs and musicians and bands and whatever are. And if you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up because I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye! Catch up with family and friends and just chill out. So that's... Why has this suddenly turned into an advice video on how to cope with